Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Championship Football Coaches Clinic podcast, sponsored by Reps, Virtual Reality, First Down Playbook, Rack Coach, Tip of the Spear, the Top Hopper, Sports Workbook. Today, we got Coach Mark Poston on, my friend. So glad he's here. He has studied the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Andy Reid. So, Coach, thank you for coming on. For everybody that doesn't know, Coach, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you're from, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at your clinics over the years. I'm recently retired from Rockbridge County High School. I don't know how long it's going to stick. Just got really burned out and really tired near the end. Really enjoyed having some time with my family. I was a high school head coach for 16 years. And during the majority of that time, we threw the football. Whether it was at Eastern Montgomery, where we made it to the state championship game, or just recently here at Rockbridge, where we went to the playoffs 5 straight times, had an undefeated season, district champions, all that. And we did it through throwing the football. So anybody who knows me, I'm an advocate for throwing the football.
Have you always been?
No, I have not.
Throwing the ball. I see that your email is Houston Veer, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about that. How were you converted?
I was converted because I was, for a long period of time, Coach, a dyed-in-the-wool Houston Veer guy. Talked to Bill Yeoman several times. We ran the Houston Veer. And it just got too hard to get 4 yards. Defenses became too good. And there were many a Saturday mornings or a Sunday mornings where we would watch the film and say, oh, man, if we would have just pulled it, or, oh, man, if we would have just pitched it. Well, you didn't, and you're in 2nd and 9 or you're in 3rd and 9. And it just became too hard. And then when you had the spread starting to come in with Rich Rod up at Morgantown, 03, 04, around that time period, and it gave the running back, the bend bang or the cutback, it gave you an opportunity to get cheap yards. Whereas in the split back, man, that running back's taught 100 miles an hour, hit that hole 100 miles an hour, and you have to have the right line blocking call, and everything has to be perfect to get 3.5 yards. Right. And then in the early 2000s, teams stopped playing all the one high stuff and they started playing quarters. And so you would get a nose and they would play a game with either 4, sometimes they'd go to a 5, and then they'd screw those safeties down to about 7 yards. And man, you're getting double bloods off the edge, and the safety's got the quarterback to pitch. It just became too hard. And in 05, excuse me, Coach, in 07, when we took Eastmont to the playoffs for the first time, we went and played a 10-0 Holston team and held them to just something ridiculous, like 100 yards of offense or whatever. And we scored on the last play of the game, and we went for 2 to go for the win on the road, and we didn't get it. And I had to go look into a locker room full of guys who had just laid everything on the line. And it really hit me like, look, when you get into championship games, and I think this more than anything expounds my philosophy. When you get into championship games, you got to get points on that board. You have got to get points on the board. And I've heard Nick Saban. If you've listened to Nick Saban has changed his tune over the last few years, about throwing the football and getting points on the board. And I just think that defenses, man, the defenses are coached up. I mean, it's not, it just became too hard. And so we had a seed change 2007 into 08 where we went to the run and shoot. And we've been that way ever since.
Okay, Coach. So I'm going to present your screen. And there it is, Coach. It says, adding the West Coast offensive principles to the run and shoot offense. So how did you get on this, Coach, and where did you learn this?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's another part. Well, we had our success with the run and shoot. And we were running the Mouse Davis run and shoot. We were in the go, the streak, the switch, the choice, the hook, slide. We ran a lot of slide for years. Well, you start getting into the age of the 4-2-5, and you start getting into the age of the Iowa State stuff where teams start playing 3 high safeties on you, and guys' seam reads are getting confused. Okay, I got a hash safety and a middle of the field safety. So who do I make my seam read break off of? You know, if they show a Tampa look with the corner and the hash safety, okay, the safety drops to the number, so that tells me to post it, right? So I'm posting it right into a 1 high safety. So we started to integrate a lot of the Kansas City Chiefs concepts in 18, 19, and into the undefeated seasons. And because it operates on the principle of, you know, we don't want to just get 3 guys in one area. We want to get 4 or 5 guys in a prescribed area on the field. Okay? So you are zone overloading one side of the field. And you're really going to stress the nickel linebacker, or you're going to stress the strong safety that in quarters, if he gets 2 verticals coming at him and the outside flanker breaks the post, well, the corner and the safety are taking the post, but now number 2 snaps a 12-yard sail route. Okay? And so things like that where you're getting 4 to 5 receivers in one area of the field. And it really freed us up. I mean, it just totally freed us up.
Yeah, Coach. So, I mean, Kansas City has been very successful. And that Super Bowl, I mean, the second half of the Super Bowl was like an ode to football. I saw the split back Lombardi sweep, the Packers sweep. I saw a 1-back counter trade, Joe Bugle, rest in peace. I mean, he was happy
Yes,
in heaven watching this. I mean, there were so many coaches in heaven happy watching that second half. But, Coach, motioning the guy across on the goal line and the Eagles switching off. And then that guy that motions runs a flat route and Kelsey runs a corner. I mean, wow, Coach. I mean,
Well, I would tell
you're going to see a lot of that this year from teams.
They have a thing at Kansas City that I wish I would have done. And if I get back into it, I am going to do. They have a whiteboard in Andy Reid's office where they call it the Beautiful Mind Board. Like off that movie, The Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, that's a movie about me.
Well,
I got him. Coach, I got a guy sitting right here next to me. All right, I can't talk. He told me he can talk to me, but I can't talk to him.
There you go. There you go. But on that board, if any of the assistants has a play or a concept, it goes up, and they discuss it. You know, there's no, oh, that's not what we do. Get that off there. No, they'll look at it. And so that's why you see all of the creativity that you see from Kansas City. Now, obviously, we're limited in the high school game because we're limited by time and all that stuff. But just the concept of having, you know, if you think about it, what's the thing they always say about coaching clinics? If you can go to a coaching clinic and you get one thing, then that coaching clinic was worth it.
Amen.
Well, so if you do that Beautiful Mind Board and you get one thing a week, just one, times that by 10, 11, 12 weeks, and now you've got 11, 12 different concepts that could really help you win games. And so I'm going to do that. Like I've written that in clay tablet, man. I mean, like I saw that and I said, wow. I said, because, you know, if you're on really good staffs, you know, your offensive line coach might have a running play or a way to block a play different than what you do. And if he's not if he doesn't feel like he can have the what's what
The
I'm trying to say?
dialogue. Yeah,
The
the dialogue.
dialogue. We've all been assistants. You'll just bag it and say, look, okay, we'll go teach inside zone, or we'll go teach and do that. But if you create that expression and that freedom as a coaching staff, and you could just get one thing, it could be a formation. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really attractive to me. I read that and I was like, wow,
Yeah. All right, Coach. So I got you're adding the West Coast offense slide up there, Coach.
Okay.
You want to talk a little bit about this presentation? I know you did it for our great friend Brad Lutz's clinic down in Roanoke, and some people probably didn't get to go.
Sure.
You want to say anything about that clinic, Coach? How did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's an awesome clinic. Coach Lutz is doing a great job down at William Byrd. He's getting them culture. The whole deal. And Brad did a great job at Broadway. Teams were always very hard-nosed and very disciplined, and he's bringing that approach to William Byrd. And so it was a great honor when he asked me to speak. Look, I ain't sitting here with all the answers. I coached at Eastern Montgomery. They were 3-27 when we took them over. Went to Nelson County, and it was just too far gone. Could not get it. I took over a program was 4-46. Couldn't get it done. And then we went to Rockbridge, and Rockbridge was 1-39 when we took over. And in 2 of the 3 areas, by throwing the football, we were able to get it flipped. And Coach Lutz is going to take his approach to William Byrd, and he's going to do great things there. And this presentation that we spoke with Coach Lutz is also about game organization. Like, what are your offensive parameters? Okay. And Brian Billick wrote a great book about an offensive game plan, like really has become our Bible. And it's something that I am an absolute fanatic about, because how many plays can you practice? Okay. You only have a certain allotted amount of time. And, and I actually showed him, put some slides in here on it as well. There's no need to carry 5 or 6 third down and 2 plays if it's only going to happen once a game.
Yeah. So
when we got that part of it, man, it really gave us a direction and allowed us to really focus in on trying to be the best that we could be.
Yeah, Coach. So if you just want to flip to that next slide, Coach.
Okay. So I do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Dorrington Meyer said, I love the West Coast offense. Dorrington just graduated college, Coach. He contacted me about a quarterback job. I gave him a number of a coach that's looking for coaches, and he's got money to pay him, but he watches almost every clinic, Coach.
Well, that's awesome. And and while he's young, he needs to get as much knowledge as he can. Okay. And that's what I've always encouraged all of our guys, is study as much as you can. And I always felt our guys, by learning to run and shoot and by learning how to have a pass-oriented practice, gave them a specialized skill that a lot of guys didn't have. Okay. And they could go in and hey, look, this is what we're going to do. This is exactly how we're going to do it. And so you could see here, the goals of our presentation is to give you something to take back to your own program that will make you and your program better, and to give something back to the game of football, because football has been so great to me. It's the greatest team game in the world. It reveals character. It tests you in every way, and I love it. And it's been my adult life. It's been my whole life. So how did we get here? And you could see, that's the slide. You could see undefeated season, 9 playoff appearances. I don't have my glasses on, the Coach. All that business. You could see all that. They can read that.
Yeah, you've been very successful throwing the ball.
And we put all the yards and stuff here about it and all that. So that I always put that in there, not to pump up anything we did, but a lot of people don't know who I am. I'm just an average Joe, And so,
but we love to throw the ball.
We loved it. We loved it.
And the kids love it.
And we got our basketball players out. That was the biggest thing that we were able to do is we were able to get our basketball guys in. And I'm going to tell you something else too. I changed my tune on soccer and lacrosse by going to this type of offense. Those guys are your guys who understand spacing.
Mm.
And the soccer guys and the lacrosse guys picked up the seam reads and the route conversions like that because they said it reminded them of breaks that they had to make in soccer where they have to read the leverage and the hips on guys. And if he's turned this way, I got to go this way. And with like the releases and stuff. And man, it just hit me. I was like, wow. Everybody thinks soccer, get your kicker off soccer. Yeah, but you can also get your wide receivers too, because they understand spacing, And so we always made it a big thing to hit up the soccer team. So today's topics: how much offense can you carry, and why? And what were some of the advantages of the West Coast? And you can see this is in a state semifinal game against Clintwood High School in 4.5 inches of snow, played right in the middle of a snowstorm. And I put that on there for a specific reason, because I use that game to debunk what people say about being able to throw the football, that bad weather. And look, when you throw the football, you have to have a plan on the sideline. How are you going to keep your footballs dry? How are you going to keep them warm? All right, if you have a great sideline organizational plan, Coach, you could throw the football in any weather.
How do you do it?
How did we do it?
Yeah, what was your organizational plan?
I put 2 parents on it, and one of the parents brought a sideline heater, and we had the footballs covered. We had them with the ball dry in a big bag, and they put that bag right in front of that heater, and the officials just kept letting us rotate balls. And
every play.
Pretty much every play. And, well, you could see if you look close in the quarterback's hands, there ain't nothing on that football. And we always took great pride in taking care of our footballs. We didn't beat our footballs up. We took care of them, especially for later in the season.
Is there anything you did particular to your footballs? I've just gotten into this, like the shaving cream, the leather lotions.
We always we did a lot of the lotion stuff. And I wanted to make sure, and this is kind of like what the Patriots got caught doing. I always wanted to make sure I took as much air out of that ball as I legally could.
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, because, the referees would come to our sidelines and literally check every ball that we had on our sidelines.
Yeah.
Because like that, is that a GST you got there?
Yeah. And this thing's brand new, and this thing is hard as a rock, and it's filled up to maximum capability. And I had a referee once tell us, Troy, in that playoff game in 2004, he said, your footballs were too hard. They were too blown up. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I would tell you something else too, Coach.
I blame the referees for the Patriot thing.
I would tell you something else about those footballs too.
Yeah.
I felt we were good enough. My 2009 team was better than my 2010 team. But our quarterback here tore his ACL in the playoff game, in one of the playoff games. And so we get beaten overtime. All right. But that was the year we went and watched J.I. Burton played Alta Vista when Alta Vista was in their run. And that's when I found out that if you make the state title game, the VHSL gives you 2 free footballs at the beginning of the game. Did you know that?
Yeah, you have to play with the GSTs.
But you have to play with them. And if you don't play with them, you don't get them. Okay? That ball was all over Salem Stadium in the first half.
Yeah, but you don't have to use that particular GST, do you?
I thought you did at that time period. Now, that's what they told us.
I would never play with the brand new football.
Oh, because it's got the state championship logo and the VHS. And so we didn't do it. We used our own footballs. And so that's just the thing that's a trick of the trade right there.
Yeah, Dorrington has a question here, Coach. He said, would you guys say that the West Coast is the most effective style of play? And, dude, I mean, it all comes from one guy, Sid Gilman.
Yeah. Oh, Coach
he is
Gilman.
The father of the modern passing game, Coach. I got autograph, $80. Signed autograph, and it's authenticated a 10. It's on the Hall of Fame card of Sid Gilman. Sid Gilman is the GOAT.
Absolutely.
And Paul Brown learned. Paul Brown and Bill Walsh, who invented the West Coast / Midwest offense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All that BYU copied that. So the air raid comes from BYU. The air raid, it all comes from Sid Gilman, and it all comes from the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, Coach,
and you know this, Troy. I'm not telling you anything, He classified it. He said, okay, this is a vertical stretch. This is a horizontal stretch. And simply by identifying that.
There's nothing new. That guy was the GOAT. Yeah.
Awesome. Is it the most effective? That depends on on any coach.
You can coach anything, man. There's teams that win in the single wing.
Sure.
There's teams that win in the wing tee. There's teams that win with no back. There's teams that look at Riverheads. I mean, they don't throw the ball ever. I mean, I think it's whatever the coach believes in, and you can coach, and your players know, right, Coach?
That's exactly right. And to be totally honest with you, obviously we couldn't figure it out. I think what Riverheads runs is fundamentally, arguably, the hardest offense to stop.
Yes. My friend had to coach his wing tee, and that's what we did, Coach. We looked up Riverheads, and we said, okay, Riverheads, who played them the best? All right, then that's who we need to watch. Yeah, Coach, I agree.
That's very difficult. But there's so many factors that go into it. I will tell you something else. You have to understand your community too. Is your community got the type of kids that you could go foot to foot and run 62 plays, or are you going to be dressing 17 kids? There's a lot of that goes into it as well.
Yeah. What do you have?
What do you have? Yeah.
If you got 5 running backs, I mean, heck, you might as well get them all on the field. Put them.
That's right. And my belief was that, look, we had, especially where I came from and the jobs that I had, where we had to win to get to the next place, to move up if we wanted to. We had to do something different. And I wanted to put people in the stands. And I just generally love the passing game, and it was just what we did, And you can see that's why I put that picture in there too. When we packed it, man. I mean, and it's such a tribute to our players who put the time into the 7-on-7s, the camps, and all that. Because, man, because you got to start teaching them. We would have them catch tennis balls, doing routes, not catching footballs, but catching tennis balls. And it takes so much time, and guys have got to be willing to give their time up if that's the style of football you want to play.
Yeah, Coach. You got to know your community.
That's exactly right. So this was the first part of it, Coach, is, what are our offensive parameters? And when people really talk the West Coast, I identify this as more being West Coast than just plays, okay? This is identifying how much offense that you can carry for a season, how much you can carry for a game, okay? And it's the systematic breakdown of your film to establish through data how many plays a game that you're averaging and what you carry, okay? And so, for example, I put our 2019 team up there. We went 9-2, beat Brookville in the playoffs, okay? we averaged 51 plays a game. And you say, well, God, Coach, that's not a whole lot. And no, it's not. But it was right in that zone because the data tells you things. We had a couple games where if we were 66 or 67 plays, we got beat because that meant that the defense wasn't stopping them and our yards per play were down. See, we weren't getting chunk plays. So we were having to run more plays. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if we had a game, let's say that we had a game in the 30s, we either obviously would lose that game or we won it because we had a tremendous amount of chunk plays. So in the 50s, if you're in the 50s, and we were huddling then, yeah, that's where you really want to be, okay? And so we zoned up the field, okay? We had our blue zone, which is what most people call backed up, -5 to -1. The yellow zone was our -6 to the -19. The vast majority of the game is played in the green zone, 20 to 20. Then we had high red, low red, goal line, and 2-point. So what is the point of the parameters? It makes your practice plans efficient. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for us were green zone days, okay, because that's where the majority of your plays are going to be, is in the green zone, okay? And you're guaranteed whatever you call during the week, you're going to call on Friday night. And how many times over the years have you ran stuff in practice that you don't really call on Friday night? And man, it makes you hone down, okay? And so you can read the rest of that.
Is that from Brian Billick's book?
That's a lot of it. Is a heavy Brian Billick. Heavy.
And he was a West Coast guy. He coached for Bill Walsh. Coach, but I got to tell you this. I just bought an autographed copy of Finding a Way to Win by Bill Walsh. Okay? Are you ready, Coach? This is going to break your heart.
You coughed up a little bit for it.
$250, Coach.
Oh,
they had it for $500, and I asked, will you accept $250? And they did.
Oh, good for
Can
you.
you believe that?
Good for you.
$250. I got the offensive line coach, Alex Marable from Miami. He was $250. He's become a good friend of mine, Coach, because this podcast. He said, $250. I would have sent you mine. I said, you would have sent me autographed copy? Autographed, Coach.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome, Coach.
I got mine in 98, Coach, in the first run, and it's beat all to pieces.
Wow.
And I will tell you, the best chapter in that book is chapter 9.
What is it on?
It's on practice plans and organization.
I've read the whole book before. I had another copy. I gave it away because I didn't have the jacket. It was black. Yeah. But, man, I got this one coming with the jacket and it's signed.
Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's a blessing. Yeah, I had to tell you that, Coach.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. So here's what we did here, Coach. So you can see 51 plays per game. Okay. All right. So backed up, we you're going to be in backed up. We were. Oh, and this was over a 3-year time period that these would be done. And I got that on the next slide. You're going to be backed up one time a game. Okay. And now here's the thing, and you know this, and all the other guys watching this know this. They don't have to be 3 separate plays. Okay. They can, you got a left hash play, a middle of the field play, and a right hash play. Okay. If you want to run 32 dive, all right, run it off the left hash, run it in the middle, run it off the right hash. Okay. So but it's 3 plays because the whole goal of backed up is to give you enough room to punt the football. Okay. That's the goal. All right. If you read Bill Walsh's book, it's exactly what Bill Walsh says. Now, that gets you into yellow zone. Okay. Yellow zone is the 19 to the 6. The goal in yellow is to get to green. So typically in this, because we threw the football, we were 2 passes and 1 run. Okay. Passes, fast screen. Okay. Tunnel screen. Safe passes, quick passes. You've eliminated the possibility of a sack. The ball's out quick on the perimeter. You're making a corner safety have to make the tackle. Run, some type of constraint run, trap, or draw. Okay? Because they can't rush the passer and play the trap. All right, that's the whole point. All right? All right, so that led us to green. And this is what I was saying to you. And you're going to be in yellow one series a game. And, Coach, this is data-driven. These numbers are not made up. This is data-driven. In 2019, we averaged 39 plays a game in green zone, 20 to 20. And you could see the breakdown here, okay? You're going to be in 3rd and 1 in the open field, 2 plays a game. So you can have a play where you take a home run shot, and then you can have a play where you get the first down. And it allows you to really personnel it. It allows you to really sit down with you and whoever's on your offensive staff and say, okay, what 2 plays do we want to run here on 3rd and 1? Okay? Because we're in the open field, and you can even make the decision then. We got to this point where we had, depending upon who the opponent was, if it was 3rd and 1, it would be like, okay, yeah, if the ball's on the 40 out, we're going to go for it on 4th down. Okay? So now we get to plan our 4th and 1 play. Okay? So what is the play that we want for 4th and 1? Okay? And so it allows you to do a lot of different things. Okay? Hey, Coach, can you give me 1 second? I just got a low battery here on my Chromebook.
Yeah, Coach.
I hate killing dead time.
Hey, Coach, can I put your email? Coach, can I put your email in here for Dorrington so he can have it, Coach?
You sure can.
All right, it's Houston Veer. All right, Dorrington, I'm going to give you Coach's email, houstonveer@gmail.com. So you'll have it. houstonveer@gmail.com. Send Coach an email. He'll send you this PowerPoint, and he'd be an excellent resource, Dorrington, to get to know. I told him, Coach, he needs to get some older mentors like Coach Mountjoy.
Oh, yeah,
Bill retired. Guys who are retired that all they want to do is talk football to somebody, but they don't have a team anymore, you know? So they find a young coach and find an old retired guy. Like Coach McNally, Coach. I got him on Twitter. Coach might have locked up. He'll be back. Yeah, if you're a young coach, find an older coach, a guy who's retired, a guy that still wants to talk football, and pick his brain. Ask him everything. All right, so let me see. I might have to. Oh, I can control coaches too. Let me see, y'all. I might have to remove Coach from the studio and bring him back in. Yeah, he's got to come back in. His battery might have died, y'all. All right, so just hang with us, y'all, while Coach gets set back up. Let me give him a call. All right, Coach is back. Hey, Coach, you're back, Coach.
Hey, Coach, I'm sorry. It kicked me off as soon as I hooked it up. I apologize for that.
That's all right. Dorrington said he talks to Coach Mountjoy nonstop. Laugh out loud.
Oh, that's awesome.
There, nobody else in America knows more football than Coach Mountjoy. Nobody.
Coach, Unbelievable resource. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. There aren't
Hey,
many guys still alive that met with Sid Gilman.
no,
Yeah.
no, there's not.
He
Coach,
sat
do
with
I
the
need
guy
to
that
hit?
invented it.
Do I need to hit present down here, Coach?
Yeah, Coach, just do like you did before.
Okay,
Coach, this might be my favorite talk of all that
I
I've done.
appreciate it.
Because you love it. You love
I
it,
love
Coach.
it.
You love it.
I absolutely love it.
And I can't control yours too, Coach. I didn't know that.
You can't control it?
Yeah, but you go ahead and do it, Coach. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you just love it, man. Like most of these guys are like, oh, well, they aren't really talking about something they love. Like I'm having to carry the conversation, what do you think about this? Or, you love it. You ooze it. It comes out of your veins. It comes out of your pores. It's like, I don't know.
I told you, something about throwing the football and organization. It was my thing, Coach. I loved it.
And you love it.
Now,
I love it too. Go ahead, Coach.
Now, if this was a defensive talk, you get a bunch of 4-2-5 guys together, I'll be sleeping like a baby, dude. Just knocked out. But, so I outlined in yellow here, Coach. This is what we carry because the data tells us to carry this much, okay? You will be surprised by the amount of offense you have versus the amount of offense that you actually used. It will actually be much less.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that's the vast majority of the game is in the green zone. We went 2 entire seasons because we had an all-region kicker. We went 2 entire seasons without going for a 2-point play. And I didn't realize it till we went back through our huddle. And now this and that's a side note, and I told the guys at the William Byrd Clinic, you and your coaching staff, your meetings will be a lot more productive, okay? Especially in the huddle film breakdown, once you delegate assignments on, all right, Coach Taylor, you got all the blue zones, I've got the greens, he's got the oranges, you've got the reds, okay? And that way you can get your films cut up a whole lot quicker. And it's not just a bunch of guys just sitting around like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I learned over the years, and I think I did a pretty good job of it, I'm sure there's guys that do a lot better, was delegate to motivate. And if you want motivated assistants, we had a passing game coordinator, we had a running game coordinator, and we split up and it would be like, Troy, all right, you've got all the 2x2 runs. I'll do the 3x1 runs. We're going to brief Coach Poston in 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that's how we would do it. And so you would come to me and we would have, in our meetings, all right, what's our top 3-3x1 runs? And I mean, man, we would have it. It would be clean because our rule was if it wasn't clean, if it wasn't totally clean, scratch it. It's out. We're not running it.
Yes.
And so the only thing that got on the script was the clean stuff. And I'd like to have Coach Myers on my staff too.
Yeah. He said, I would love to be on your staff, Coach. Well, Dorrington, that's why you're watching. That's why you're networking.
Exactly right.
Next time Coach gets a job, and
shoot me an email.
Yeah. Now, me, if you wanted to be on my staff, then you must want to be hated because we are the most hated. We are the most penalized. We're like the Oakland Raiders.
Old school Oakland Raiders.
Old school. John Madden, Coach.
Love it. Love it.
I do too.
Now, here's the biggest thing. You as a coach, and this requires you to think this out, you have to decide what ratios you want to carry, how much run versus pass that you want to carry. Ours was always 70-30. We wanted to throw the football 70% of the time, run the football 30% of the time. And here's the beauty of it, and then Steve Spurrier said this, your ratios in practice must match what you do on the game. So there's been plenty of times coaches will clam up, and man, you'll throw the football all week in practice. And what do you do on Friday night? You're running it. And so you're running stuff on Friday night that you haven't given the adequate reps to during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposite is exactly true. And this happened to me running split back veer for all those early years. Well, just skip past skeleton today. You know, we'll be okay. You know, we're running 2 tight ends, flankers, split back veer. Hey, if we're down 14 in the third quarter, we're probably not going to be where we want to be anyway. So Guck, there's my man Guck.
You know Guck, Coach.
Oh yeah.
How do you know Guck, Coach?
Through email, through websites. My man Guck has hooked me up over the years.
He loves it, Coach. He loves it. He's Coach. We're football junkies. That's what I should have called
Football
it.
just junkies, man.
We're football junkies.
and option coaches are you know, until you find yourself in a tight football game and that outside veer ain't working, and you're looking at 3rd and 7, and you haven't done your pass skelly, and you don't have a good 3rd down and long plan. And Bill Walsh even said the same thing. Bill Walsh even said that he come to really believe in the scripting when they played a playoff game with the Bengals and got caught in a 3rd down situation that he wasn't prepared for. And they end up losing. And so the bottom line is to make sure that you have written plan. And Bill Walsh also said, it's a great quote, we live by the written word. Yeah, we live by the written word. And how many times have we been on the sidelines, especially if you're on the road, you're on the headsets, you got the get back guys yelling at the players to get back, you got the chain gang coming through, all this stuff's going on. It's a lot easier to look down on your script,
yes,
and to say, okay, we're left hash, green zone, 2nd and 7. All right, run this play. Because you've already thought about it. You've had a meeting on it. Everybody on your offensive staff has agreed on it. Mm-hmm. It's the best play for that situation. Roll with it.
You know, and Coach, it's always everybody wants to know, well, who's going to call the play? I mean, well, who calls the play for the Chiefs? I don't know. But, I mean, really the play is what you're saying is the play calling is decided before
exactly
you get on the sideline. And it's decided by everybody on the staff.
Yeah. And you really have to reach, or at least I did, you have to reach a belief like, look, it doesn't matter what you think. If Bill Walsh says this is how the best way to do it, you might want to take a lesson from him.
Yeah.
And get input from your staff. And I know our staff worked harder, put in tremendously long hours, and became very close because they were part of what the decision-making process. You know, and really, Coach, they know the plays that are coming up because they'll have the scripts too. Okay. Yeah. And there's okay, we're green zone 3rd and 4. All right, right hash. This is what should be called. All right, so this next slide, I can't even attempt to look at that. My eyes are not that good, but that is 3-year data. Yeah, that is 3-year data right there. Okay. Oh, I just blew it up here so I could see it. So you could see, and here's the field zones were backed up, yellow, green, okay? And you could see first, so there it is, average per zone, 16.6. And that's so over a 3-year period, we were 20-10. We scored 836 points. 9,719 total yards, and all that. And so that's the 3-year data for it right there, Coach.
That's amazing, Coach.
And it just made us so streamlined in how we practiced that I mean, we had it. We had it. And if I would go in someplace now, if I decided to get back into it, Coach, this is what we would do. And here's the thing. I wouldn't care if we were running the eye or running the wishbone or whatever. I would take this same ratio approach and do it. Okay? So how do you practice it? And there's our quarterback, Miller J, was our last really great one. So as I said, Monday became a work day for us. Okay? It had to be because of the amount of plays that we were running. Okay? All first down calls in the open field. Monday is a major work day for us. And this is what I just said. Period totals should match your run pass percentage of your offense. And so on Monday, and all the players love routine. And players know that from an offensive side, Monday's first down. All right, so they're getting their green zone first down calls. Tuesday is second down. And that's long, medium, and short. Okay? Because the majority of the game is in the green zone. The majority of your calls will be first and second down. There it is. And we had to adjust this because in 2019, before COVID, we only did green zone Monday and Tuesday. And we found out that it wasn't enough, that we couldn't get through our second down pass skeletons, second down team, and all that. We were running out of time. So going into the undefeated season, we went on ahead and extended Wednesday into third down green zone because wouldn't you agree, Troy? Third down pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, but let me ask you this about third down. I mean,
Okay.
it's like because I never knew this until I coached with Shane Reynolds, that coached at ODU. Like a lot of times at ODU, when it was third and long, they would just run the ball because they didn't want to put their quarterback in a bad predicament. And a lot of times it works because people are playing the pass. So, like, sometimes to me, like third and longs, it depends on what part of the game it is. But heck,
here's why I did not do that, and I'm glad.
Okay,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, we only averaged 52 plays a game. I didn't want to give that down up, okay? Because especially if you watch, as we all watch football, you can get a PI. Yeah. You can get if I hand it off, I can't get that. Okay. The defense, if it's a third and long and they got a defensive coordinator that wants to run some new coverage or some exotic three high and somebody busts, man, if I had a nickel every time we ran switch on somebody on a 3rd and 9 and we had the seamer going down the hash uncovered on a switch route.
I love it.
So I'm not willing to concede that because you're not just giving up one down, coach. You're giving up 2 downs because I might not get, if it's 3rd and 12, I might not get 12, but I might get 11. And now I'm in 4th and 1. And or 4th and 2. Now, if I hand it off, now, like you said, hopefully, you're eliminating if you hand it off, you're eliminating the interception. You're eliminating the possibility of your quarterback taking a big hit and getting lit up. The back can break it. You can. So there's merit to that, especially when you're making big money. And but I just wasn't. I thought it was more beneficial for us to play the downs and to try to get into a 4th and convertible. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
And so Thursday became basically like backed up. Backed up was 5 minutes. And if you read Bill Walsh in the AFCA manual, Bill Walsh advocated having 3 plays for backed up that you didn't change throughout the season, that they were the same plays that you had, okay? Because the goal in backed up is to have enough room to punt. Yellow, that's the danger one. That's the one where you can get too risky. That's when I was telling you earlier that I always wanted 2 screens, okay, and a constraint run, okay? Then high red and low red. And that was the thing that surprised me when we really broke all this stuff down until I thought about us being a 4 or 5 wide passing team. Coach, we were hardly ever in a goal line situation. Most of our scoring was from like the 22 to 25, and then from the high red, from the 11 to 20, where I guess you still had routes, room to break the switch routes or to throw the choice route to the single guy. A lot of our stuff from the 5 and it just wasn't there. Okay. And then if we had openers, that's when we would run them.
This is interesting because this is making me think, just listening to you, like backed up. Like you said, they have 3 plays that they run, all year. I mean, I've had Randy Cross. I've had Jesse Sapolo on. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've had them on. I've gotten to talk to them. We're gonna do a talk for Bob McKittrick, and we're getting like 4 of the offensive linemen that played for him. And I mean, those guys could probably tell you. But I mean, if you want to find out what they are, just watch NFL games and see what they run when they're backed up.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, like you said, it's the same thing. What about like stacking a receiver and smoking like a fast screen out there?
Love it.
Because when you stack receivers, there's really only one guy can cover 2 because you got to play somebody back.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a one-on-one block, and you get what if it's an incompletion? I mean,
So you talking about like being that one of your plays inside the blue zone?
Yeah, when you're backed up, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the old Bobby Bowden philosophy about taking a shot.
Yeah, taking a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. Because even with that's
because everybody knows you're going to run. They're going to think you're going to run it or do a quarterback sneak or
exactly
something.
Right.
Just smoke it out there and see what happens.
And and I love that because you're using your data to help you because they have access to this data, right? The teams that and they say, Coach Taylor always runs 32 dive and backed up.
They run ISO to our sideline.
ISO to your side. Okay. Well, now you fake it and throw it over the top.
Ooh.
Or just something like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And you know who the world's best at that is?
Who?
And he beat us like a drum, even when I had really good teams. And I give the devil his due is Winford Beal. When Coach Beal had Floyd County rolling, oh, my God. That you would say, I have watched every film on Floyd County. And then he would have a counter to this play. Or it would be a counter to the counter. And I just said, Winford, God bless you, man. You're just a really good football coach. I mean, and such a classy individual too.
Yeah.
But we got to the point with it, Coach, was we ranked them. So our script would have green zone and have left, middle, right. Okay. And this is why I said sometimes we had openers, but a lot of times we just played it off the field zone. Okay. So we get the opening kickoff, right? Our guy returns it to the 27-yard line, middle of the field. I'm gonna throw the football. So I just go green zone, middle of the field, play 1. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you've ever done openers before, you end up going through about 5 or 6 drafts before you finally decide on the 10 or 15 or how many you're going to carry. It just made it a lot easier for us using the field zones. I mean, I just feel like it made us so much more efficient. And it sets up our practice plan for the week. So that's kind of what we did on that. So let's implement one of the routes. And this comes up like garbage here. A lot of the Kansas City influence was because we couldn't beat Spotswood. You remember when Dale won like 22 straight regular season games, in the Valley at Spotswood?
Yeah,
they just beat us like a drum. They had the big Tomasi kid was playing at JMU and a bunch of other good players, and they would play the match quarters on us, and it caused a lot of problems for us. And I've got it so ingrained in my mind here. Let me see if I got my marker here, Coach.
Here, I'm going to take the screen off so you can we're going to put the screen on you so you
Okay.
can draw it up.
Try to find here it is. So let me see here, Coach. Let me draw it first, and then I'll show it to you, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the look that Spotswood gave us. Quarters on the back end, balls on the hash, okay? Spotswood would play match quarters on it. And this is one of the reasons why we started to implement the Kansas City West Coast stuff. Let me try to, okay. Because let's say that we were going to run an original run and shoot route, okay? Let's say we're going to run 60 Z go, right? One's off, two's on the seamer, 3 to the flat. All right, you good on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the corner is going to top 1. The nickel is going to hang and bang 2 and really try to disrupt his route. Plays 3 to the flat late. The safety's over the top. The running back's in protection. Coach, you don't have anything.
Nah, they got 3 for 3.
They got 3 for 3. You don't have anything. And they would sling the mic sometimes on a rush, which could potentially disrupt that. You don't have anything. Okay? And it was the same thing with like smash. So he's on the – okay? So the corner sees a hitch. He bails to play the smash. The nickel gets underneath the hitch. The safety takes the seam read. And they actually wing combo it with the mic. The mic undercuts it. He's over the top. And your quarterback gets into a runaround. You don't have nothing.
Yeah, let me tell you something about this, because the Coach Mountjoy told me this recently. And you tell me if you've ever heard this. He said, Troy, you got a quarters team like that. He said, take the number 3 receiver and run him right down the middle of the field, and that safety's got to cover him, and then just run your horizontal stretches. Curl flat.
Well, you can. Yeah, absolutely you can.
I mean,
some people call that a pipe concept.
Yeah, I was like, wow, man. Like, Coach, I never heard of that, but that was so smart, you know?
That's really smart. I wish we'd have done it about 3 years ago.
Well, you know, next time, Coach, that number 3 receiver right down the middle, I mean, that safety's got to cover him, and then out becomes cover 3.
And see, then when we were both undefeated and we played them, then they backed this mic out. And so they went mic over 2, nickel. And so that's what you got right there.
Yeah, now they got 4 over 3.
Yeah, now they got 4 over 3. And
they got a 2 over 1 over that side.
Yeah. And see, they never moved to free safety because our whole philosophy was the Mouse Davis stuff, where if he crosses the football, or if he's on the football, then we're going to run choice. You with me?
Yeah.
Well, he never crossed.
I'm not as familiar with the Mouse Davis stuff because it's all about route conversions. It's like backyard football to me. Get open. Yeah.
So
I'm not big into route conversions. I'm a Mountjoy disciple.
So what we started to do, just to keep it simple, is we took a concept, and I'll draw it up so you can see it. Where we zone overloaded it. Which, looking at it, you got 3 running down the middle.
Yeah, and now you're high-lowing that, that nickel. Nickel can't cover all, 2 of those guys because you're high-lowing them.
Yeah, and if the mic tries to undercut number 3 and they bracket number 3, you have nobody to play the shallow cross.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk about freedom, that's the kind of freedom that it gave us. And so the other thing that we did was stealing a West Coast concept was really expand the shallow cross concept. And this became my favorite play. This play right here.
Right there.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say
we would
what
call
I
that shallow curl.
Yeah,
we would call that shallow curl.
Yeah, two safeties work the post dig. One safety work the shallow cross side.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
That's good against everything.
Yeah,
that's good against quarters. That's good against cover 3. It's good against cover 1. It's good against cover 0.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the best play in football.
And then we did it out of 3x1 and tagged the drive with it. And hit the curl flat.
Yeah.
With the drive route. And so that just gives you a little bit, and that's what's on the PowerPoint, a little bit further into the PowerPoint.
Right. I'll put it back up.
So that's all that talks about is what we just did. Okay. And we said Bill Walsh says you need to change about 20% of your offense every year.
Wow.
So here's here's Coach Walsh, and then here's the book I was telling you about. Unbelievable. Now this is the Taylor Colsey book.
Is he on Twitter, Coach? I want to get him on the show, Coach.
He's unbelievable.
I like these guys that are real smart. I mean, like this the match quarters guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Belichick. I like this guy. I don't even know him, but I'm going to find him, Coach. I'm going to get him on the show and talk about this book.
And so if the guys didn't hear me earlier, what makes this book different is every concept that he goes over there with the Chiefs, that the Chiefs ran. He has the YouTube all 22 cut up with it. So you get to see it.
Yeah, Coach.
So this is Texas. And it's a strong side overzone load. Can be tagged with different looks backside. Trail switch lock can be run out of 2x2 or 3x1.
He's a Boise State offensive analyst coach now.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I just found him on Twitter. I'm going to hit him up.
So everybody could see it. I mean, it's, one's on the post, 2's on the sail, 3, the superback's in the flat, and you got drive on the backside.
Yeah, Coach.
And so.
Have you ever met this kid?
The Colsey guy?
Yeah.
No, never have.
Well, you're going to, Coach, when he comes on, I want you to be co-host.
Coach, right. I will sing his praise. And, Coach, I don't know why it's not letting me play, but
that's all right, Coach. Just go through any other slides you want to, Coach. I've already had you on here an hour.
Oh, okay. Well,
we could go all day, Coach. But when I get Taylor to come on, Colsey, I want you to come on because I'm gonna get him to come on and talk about his book. I don't want him to talk about Boise State offense.
The book unbelievably changed. It brought us up a whole nother level.
So Steven said, Troy, get Taylor on. I've already hit him up. So if you know him, hit him up too.
Yeah.
I mean, I followed him on Twitter. I just want him to talk about the book. You don't have to talk about Boise State. You know, what Boise State does. Yeah, just come on and talk about that book.
Yeah. So that's it. And we would zone overload. We really, in terms of our run game, Coach, we got to the point where we were RPO and everything.
Yeah.
And I had a guy explain RPOs to me, because RPOs and RSOs and
what is RSO?
Run screen options.
Okay.
Those would be like your first level reads. Like you're going to zone the original zone read, and you're going to bubble off of it.
Yeah, or throw a look pass or something like Coach Mills does.
Yeah, so that would be called an RSO.
Okay, gotcha.
RPO is a second level, and then third level you got glances. You know how like the 4-2-5 guys like to drop the strong free safety.
Yeah.
To get him to you post it behind him and you read that safety. But the RPOs, they're game changers. They're game changers. But your quarterback's got to be smart. Got to be smart. But so that was what we did. That's what we did. And
we're gonna have you back on, Coach. I'm gonna have you back on. You're gonna be co-host with Taylor. When Taylor comes on, you're gonna co-host the show with me. Wouldn't that be something?
I'd love it, Coach. I'd love it.
Coach, you love it, man. You should be on here more often with me. Yeah, you're retired now. I mean, dude, I do these all day. It's crazy. I mean,
and let me tell you something, Coach. You're doing a great service with your clinics, with what you're doing now, everything you do on Twitter. You are such a resource for what coaching should be. What you do, and you're touching so many people right now, man. It's unbelievable.
I love it, man. I never would have thought that I would be talking to Jim McNally and the offensive line coach at Colorado State and the offensive line coach at Miami. The coach at Miami, offensive line coach Alex Maribal, sent Mario Cristobal the Al Groh podcast and told him, said, you need to watch this. This is help you be a better head coach. Coach, that Al Groh podcast it's the best Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban podcast ever. I mean, that guy coached with all three of them. And you know Al Groh, Coach. He oozes football. You can't be a football coach and not like Al Groh.
Yeah. When I met him, when I was at Eastmont, we'd go to Al Groh camps and all. Dude's just a serious dude, man. I mean, dude is just serious.
He loves football, man.
Just loved it. It's a football guy, man.
He's a football guy, Coach. So anything else you want to say before we log off here, Coach? I got to go to that dinner for the Alumni Hall of Fame.
Coach, I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, Coach, you were great. You're probably my favorite speaker.
I appreciate it.
We'll have you back on, Coach. What you want to talk about next?
Coach, we could talk about – I want to really try to help guys do things more than just the X's and O's. Like, I mean, if we want to talk like fundraising, or we want to talk practice plans.
Yeah, how to be a head coach.
Yeah, stuff that if you could get burned on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
How do you handle
get fired? How not to get fired?
How not to get fired? Exactly.
Football coach.
Exactly. Like for example, I know we got to go, Coach, but like, okay, you have a staff meeting. All right, we're getting ready to start the season. Are we going to have our staff meetings on Saturday, or are we going to have them on Sunday? Because we got to meet, okay? And I know some guys say you don't, and then you can Zoom meet and all this other stuff. So are you going to meet on Saturday? Now, are you going to be a guy that says, okay, we have no clocks. We're here till we get it done. Well, now you're going to have to deal with the wives, okay? Yeah. And Coach, you've been a head coach a long time too. You better find out what you believe to be the right way, and then stick to it.
Yeah, Steve, I'm gonna have Coach back on. I must every time I have one, I must text and say, "Hey, Coach, you want to come on?" Because you would love just to listen and talk to these guys.
I
love it, Coach. I mean, I talked 5 hours with Bob Wiley. Can you believe that?
That'd be awesome.
Bob Wiley.
That would be awesome.
Coach, by the end of the 5 hours, he was asking his own questions and answering them. It was great, man. I got cussed out by Coach McNally for getting Dick LeBeau. I have Dick LeBeau's cell number, Coach. I got Dick LeBeau to write him. To do a video message for him, and he
Coach,
got so
so
mad.
Cool.
It is cool. I love it, man. We love it. We're football guys.
That's right.
Steve said, "Get you back on." Steve Guccion. Yeah,
that's my man Guck right there.
Thank you, Coach. You're the best. I'll hit you up.
Coach, you are the best. God bless you, brother. Take care.
brother. God